Okay, so we're back in the bathroom this morning, and as you can see, I have my vanity built from a long time ago, but I've got this little corner here, and I want to put some shelves up in here. So what I've done is, as soon as I get this the right way, is just cut a little cardboard template. I know it's kind of dark here, to fit in that corner like that. So I'm going to make a shelf out of some scrap wood that I have that'll go in that corner, and actually I'm going to make two of them. So one will go here at the bottom, and the other one will go up here. So let's go out back. Welcome back to Ray's A-Frame Adventure,
Episode 42.
So what I've got is some leftover wood from that vanity that I've done, that I built before. And I went ahead and sanded down the other side, which means I'll have to stain it to kind of match. But this stuff had glue all over it because these were pieces that I pulled apart when I made that vanity. And yeah, we're going to lay out our triangle on here. Hopefully, and get enough out of it. And I'm actually running short, so I'll have to glue these two together, which means I've got to belt sand all that glue off of there, which will be fun. But I think I've got enough to make it work. All right, I got the boards sanded down. They look good. Yeah, I'm going to have to piece together these two here to get to the same thickness of what the other boards are. But I've got my cardboard template here for the shelves. And if I put them back to back or face to face, however you want to call it here.
It's called the hypotenuse.
They'll fit on there. They're just a little bit small here, but that's okay. I'll just cut a 1/4 inch down on this side.
Thought you'd never ask.
And that'll be fine. It doesn't have to be exact. So we should be able to get that out of this wood. Okay, here's the finished shelves. I know I had to take a break. Didn't show you all the construction process because my phone ran out of memory. But anyway,
Real
here we are. I put
professional.
a little bit of the light stain on there. It's the black stain actually, but I put it on light. In other words, real thin. Just rubbed it on there thin just to give it a little bit of color there to match the vanity that's already in there. And then we're just spraying a light coat on here. I get that angled right. At any rate, let's see what we got here. In wax. Yeah. In putting up the shelves, I've decided to go with these shields that are. It's getting a little dark there. I decided to go with these shields that
Are we keeping you up?
actually screw themselves in
Kinda.
and become a shield, and then you just screw right into that. So those are really nice. All right, to fit the angle of that wall, I had to bend that bracket. So I took just a straight bracket, like this one, and ended up having to bend a couple of these to match the angle of the wall. Okay, finishing up the flooring. Actually, I've been done with the flooring, but I've got this area near the door that I'm gonna caulk. And remember, the flooring is a floating floor, so it needs to contract and expand. So I found this stuff called the Big Stretch. Yeah, baby. Anyway, we're gonna caulk that in here, and it's really got a lot of elasticity to it, and it's super strong. I saw a sample of it that they had, and it can go real thick. So I'm gonna put that in this crack here, and that'll give the ability for that floor to move in and out.
Whenever I'm up on the mountain and I feel like I'm gonna crack, well then I get Big Stretch, baby. Elastic sealant. It won't crack. It just stretches.
All right, so there it is. Got the Big Stretch in there, and got it nice and caulked in there. I know it's kind of dark. You can't really see that, can you? Well, anyway, it looks good. It's even. I just used a wet finger. Yep, a couple wet fingers there, and yeah, paper towel, and got it all cleaned up. That's good. All right, back in the shower this morning after literally months of time, and I'm going to install this faucet. I had the top part put on before a long time ago, and just had a mental block and been busy with other things. Got a bunch of parts here in the box of putting this together. Honestly, I have no idea how really to do this.
Really?
Not being a plumber.
Really?
But I've got instructions here, so we're going to figure this out this morning. So following the instructions, you just put that thingamabobby into this thingamabobby, and then screw in that thingamabobby, and
Okay.
yeah, then the thingamabobby's in there.
Right.
And so that's the assembly there.
Got it.
Again, following the instructions to the letter.
I see.
So that was the cartridge installation, and now I've got to put the trim kit over the top, the trim and the handle here, which shouldn't be any big deal.
Nah, we got this.
So I just had to slip the rubber O-ring on there as the first step over the top of the bonnet nut here, and then the cover just goes on like that, and that kind of holds it securely. Yeah, like this. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it looks like that'll work.
Bada bing, bada boom.
And now the cover plate goes on, and lining up the screw holes here with the 2 screw holes here, and just basically just slides over on top of here. So I just got to put the screws in there. It must be right because it says on and it says off. Okay, now we just got to slide the handle on here, lining it up right, make sure it goes in the grooves there. And I was getting ready to put the screw and the cap on. I'm like, wait a minute, I got an extra part here.
Oops.
So it says, read the instructions, do not screw this on yet. So obviously this goes in there. Okay, near as I can figure is you have these two plastic dials here, and this is for the temperature control so it doesn't get too hot. So there stops. Once it screws in here, you have to adjust it depending on the temperature of the water, how far you want it to travel to turn on. The only problem with this is I have to have hot water turned on now to test it, which I don't have any hot water because I don't have any power here yet.
Don't remind
Matter
me.
of fact, I don't have a well yet either. So anyway, we're going to set it up and for like normal range, and we'll leave it until we get power and water. Okay, finally got the cap installed. It's on there kind of tight. I had to snap it on pretty good. Anyway, what we have here is the ability to control the temperature of the water with this knob here and kind of leave that set to whatever you like it. And then this controls the amount of volume of water that comes out. So it's always a good sign when you get to the end and you have no more parts left and everything's installed. That's good, because when you have extra parts left over, that means something's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Unless you're my dad, which he always had parts left over and thought that was a normal part of the process.
Hey, Pops was a genius.
October 4th, beautiful day outside. A little bit warm, but
Yeah, he was a master
absolutely
mechanic.
beautiful. In back of the cabin here, and working on creating a high top with some stools out of some of the scrap wood I had left over from the steps. As you can see, some has been out in the sun. So kind of marked out some circular areas there for 12-inch stools. See if maybe I can get 3 of them out of that piece. And then this will be for the top here. And I'll probably be circular when I'm done, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this slab in half here and then glue it up.
All right, here we are, and we got to glue these two boards together. But before we do that, we got to make sure they're squared up in the middle. And as you can see, it came off the chainsaw, a sawmill. And we've got a little bit of a gap here. It's not perfect, so I don't have a planer out here. What we're going to do is we're going to take our skill saw and just cut down the middle of this, and that should even it up at the same time, both sides, theoretically, of course. And then to do that, we're going to need to clamp it together nice and tight, but my clamp's not big enough, so what we've got here is Red Green's handyman secret weapon, duct tape. That's right, baby, duct tape. So we duct tape that thing there together to hold it, and you know, it's red duct tape, too, which means it's red. You know, it's red. Like red green. That's my hero. Anyway, we're gonna get this thing cut up and see how it looks. Well, I'll tell you something, that was just such a dumb idea. It actually worked. I mean, it's a lot tighter than what it was, you know, and the gap's pretty good. I think we'll be able to glue that up and it'll look good. We'll squish it together there, and we'll probably tape it with some duct tape, to get it clamped together there. Up today, I'm gonna use Gorilla Glue. I've never used this stuff before, but it's supposed to expand and foam out a little bit, which will be good because if we have a little gap here, that'll fill in that gap good. So the idea is, I think you put glue on one side, you wet the other side, and you put it together, and it's a chemical reaction, which then foams up, and it takes an hour or so to dry out, and then 24 hours for a full cure. We'll give it a shot. Because everything you do is better with Gorilla Glue.
Not quite.
All right, I put the glue on one edge and used a damp foam, or damp sponge here on the other side to wipe it down to get it damp there, and it looks like it's starting to foam up already inside there, so that's good. Should fill up that crack nice. Jeez, homie, turn the package around.
Gorilla Glue. Yes, because everything you do.
We'll never get sponsored.
Yes, because everything you do. Wait a minute, don't want to get my towel in there. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, right. All right, I'm going to cut out the circles here for the stools, and as you can hear, I've got the generator running, and I'm using my, what am I using here? Jigsaw, yeah, jigsaw to cut out, but this stuff is really thick, so I may end up taking my circular saw, just whacking it off, and then kind of sanding it, but we'll see how this goes.
Because everything you do is better with Gorilla Glue. Gorilla
Oh boy.
Glue. Say it, glue.
Glue.
So my jigsaw is cutting it. It's not liking it, but it is doing it slowly. And I've got it set on the most aggressive setting here in the 3, which controls the angle of the blade here, which kind of cuts into the wood a little more aggressively. So we'll continue to work and see how this works out. Meanwhile, my other stuff up here is drying. And yeah, I ran out of red tape, so I'd use the full duct tape there too. But yeah, the glue is expanding out pretty nicely. Looking good.
Because everything you do is better with Gorilla Glue.
Thank you very much. So it's been close to an hour, and before the glue gets really hard and dry, I'm going to come in here with a scraper, I think, and just scrape off some of this excess while I can get it off without having to sand it later and grind my head off, you know. So we'll get some of this, most of this extra stuff that's on top of here, the squeeze out, we'll get rid of that. Well, I figured that would happen. As you can see here, the blade is broke off.
Uh-oh.
And actually, it's still in the wood here.
Nice.
It's just really thick. Trying to push that saw pretty hard to go through this stuff. You know, this is a good, it's over 2 inches thick here. So I've got another blade. We'll try that for a little bit, see how it goes, and maybe I can get around the second one. I got the first one cut out. And where's that? Oh, yeah, over here. And so that worked out good. But if I have to use my skill saw to whack it and then sand it, I'll do that. But I'm going to see if I can try to get one more out.
Well, as you can see, quarter cable. It does circles around the other saws.
Too cheesy.
Well, I know what you're thinking. This is probably some shameless plug just to get some sponsors so that I can continue working up on the mountain and get some funds coming in, you know?
Yeah.
And it probably is. It probably is.
All right, as you can see, I got my 2 stool tops cut out, circles. And now I've got to go back to the tabletop here, and I'm going to make a circle on here to cut out. And for those of you who missed it, probably in an earlier video I showed this. Maybe I didn't, I don't know.
Probably.
At any rate, just find the center of your block here if you want to make a circle. I'm just using a piece of cardboard. I nailed in just a nail in the center of the wood here. And then I've got this out here, a little hole out here marked the distance that I want. And then basically just kind of making a large compass shape here. If I can get it to right while I'm doing this.
Might be a good time for an intermission snack, folks.
I'll get it.
Right here. Okay.
Are you sure?
Anyway, you just kind of work your way around and make a line. My pen doesn't want to seem to be writing. You can
All
see
right,
it
let's
over
get some
there.
popcorn.
Not sure what's going on.
Yeah,
there,
this
but
could be a while.
that's how you do it. Get another marker, get a pen that works. I don't know.
Gee whiz.
All right, let's try that again.
I'm feeling lucky.
I think I was just catching the cardboard underneath.
I've got it now.
Let's see, is that working? Yeah, that's better. There. Okay, so just mark it carefully all around and go all the way around and make a good circle.
Bingo!
Well, a lot of life is about trial and error,
More error,
and
it
cutting this
seems.
out with the jigsaw, you know, it's kind of crooked. The angle was crooked. It wasn't going through all the wood all the way. Just barely made it with the blade. In some areas it didn't make it. So just kind of a mess. So I've taken my circular saw and I've decided to do that, the big one with the circular saw, which is working out fine. And then I'll just smooth out the edges with the sander, belt sander. Of course, with a large circular saw blade like this, you can't curve the cut really as you're cutting. Sometimes with thin plywood, you can kind of curve it a little bit. But what I'm basically doing is just cutting off straight segments and then just coming back and nipping off smaller straight segments around till eventually it becomes pretty much a curve that can be belt sanded smooth around.
Here you can see I'm using my angle grinder to smooth out the rough spots and any real ditches, and then on the edge here, those flat spots created by the saw, now I'm just rounding them around the side there and just kind of rounding it.
So I've got my DeWalt grinder here, which I'm using for the rough sanding, and I just put actually had a leftover metal disc over there. I'm using that as a backing since I didn't have the proper backing for this, but there's a real stiff sandpaper, 120 grit, and that's going to take it down. I just got to be careful, keep it kind of level as I move around. And then I'll finish it off with the finishing sander here, which has a straight feature on it where it goes back and forth straight, and then also does an orbital. So this just wouldn't take it down fast enough, so I'm going to use this as a finish for the angle grinder there. That should work. Well, I'm getting ready to put some finish on the tabletop and the stool tops there. And I'm going to use the same ultimate floor finish that I used for the steps. As you can see, though, it's been in the can a little while, so I'm going to see how if this will redissolve into it. This water base, you have to stir it gently. If that'll redissolve into it, I'll use it. If not, I'll use some other type of finish, whatever I have here. Anyway, I'm going to paint it on with the foam brush today rather than spray it like I did the steps because, yeah, my sprayer is broken.
Yeah, I kicked the bucket in episode 38.
Yes, it did.
Well, with a little bit of restirring here, it looks like it's doing pretty good. So it's dissolved in there, so we should be able to use it. Should be fine. As you can see, it's really sucking up the finish here on the wood here. It's just absorbing it up in the sunlight here. But I think this is going to work great.
This episode of Ray's A-Frame Adventure is brought to you by Big Stretch.
They'll never buy
That's
it.
it, Big Stretch, because it won't crack.
You don't think so?
It just stretches. Sometimes you need to just stretch, and sometimes you're gonna crack. But if you feel like you're gonna crack, get Big Stretch. It'll help out.
Ah.
Help me all the time. Is that good?
No.
Yes. You like that, sponsors? Okay, well, I love it.